Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So as you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to show you how I make my gorgeous cheesy scalloped potatoes, and I paired them with some peri peri chicken. So first of all, can someone please tell me why I have never tried scalloped potatoes before? They are absolutely delicious. I could not believe how well they turned out, how good they tasted. They were just so cheesy and creamy. I know that usually they don't include any cheese in there, but I did make the cheesy version because, as you know by now, I love cheese. And honestly, I'm going to keep making these because they were just so good. So I wasn't actually going to share the chicken recipe with this, but because I was making it together as a meal, I just popped it in this video as well, because I just used a store-bought marinade on that chicken. Nothing else went on it. It was super simple, but it was so good. So I made this in my air fryer oven. So you can actually make it in any air fryer. And it turned out so good. Like I mentioned, I will make sure that I will make these potatoes alongside some of my other main dishes because it just went so well, and I ate so much of those potatoes, so that did hurt my diet just a little bit, but that's okay. It's a new day. I'm going to start fresh again, but I did want to share this recipe because it is so good. So I really want you to try these out. Let me know if you make them, how they turn out. Also, please guys, leave me some suggestions down below what else you want me to make, because I am struggling at the moment trying to find new recipes to share that I can make in the air fryer. But if you've got any ideas, please leave them below, and don't panic if you're thinking, oh my god, she's not going to post any more air fryer recipes, because that will not happen. I will always come up with something to share with you guys. But obviously, if you have any ideas, just leave them below and I will try and give them a shot as well. So I really hope you enjoy this video. Let's get straight into it and I will see you at the end. So I'm going to start with the chicken because it will take longer to cook. So I've got 8 medium-sized chicken legs here with the skin off. And I'm going to be marinating with some of this Amina's Peri Peri marinade. So I have used this brand of marinades before and they have always been so good. I just find them in my local Asian supermarket. So now I am just going to coat the chicken in this marinade, just giving them a quick rub, making sure they are all coated really well. Okay, so once they are all coated nicely, I am going to start putting them on this baking tray. This tray comes with the high sapientia air fryer oven. So I'm just going to pop them on there, and then I'm going to cover them with some foil. So you want to wrap this quite tightly. We are going to cook them with the foil on the whole way through. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll pop this straight into our air fryer oven. Okay, so I'm going to pop these into the air fryer oven at the very top, so the very top shelf. And I actually, for the setting, I picked the rotisserie setting. That is set at 180 degrees Celsius. However, I just increased the temperature and I put it up to 200 degrees Celsius. And I let these cook for 45 minutes until I got on with the potatoes. So I've got around 7 medium-sized Maris Piper potatoes, which I have peeled and washed really well. And now I'm just going to slice them really thinly. You want to get this as thin as possible so that they cook really nice and evenly in the air fryer. So this is how thin I got them. So I'm just going to continue and cut them all into equal sizes. And then I'm going to pop them into a large bowl, cover with some cold water, and I'm going to set them aside. So next up, I have got a medium-sized white onion that I'm just going to peel, and then I am going to try and cut this up quite finely. And after I've cut this up, I've also got 3 cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to use my garlic press to crush them, and then I'm going to just set this aside for a second. In the meantime, I've got a large pan and I've added in some butter. I'm going to wait for that to melt slightly before adding in my onions. So now you just want to fry these off for around 5 or 6 minutes until they have softened, and become translucent. And now I'm going to add in the garlic that we crushed, and I'm just going to fry off these two ingredients together in the pan for another 2 or 3 minutes. So I am basically just making a roux here. So I'm going to add in around 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of plain flour, and I'm just going to mix that in, and then I am gradually going to start adding in some milk. So I don't have the exact measurements for the milk because I literally just add as I go until I reach my desired consistency. So you want to keep doing that, add little by little until you are happy with the consistency. You just want it to be nice and creamy and not too thick. But of course, I will be leaving all the ingredients and measurements in the description below for everything else, but there won't be a measurement for the milk because, like I mentioned, I didn't measure it, and I just added a little by little until I was happy with how this turned out. Okay, so at this point it was time to season. So I just seasoned with some salt. I also grinded in some pepper, and then I added some chili flakes, but they are optional. If you're not into your spices, then just skip them out, and you can just add anything else that you prefer. So I'm just going to give everything a quick mix around and a stir, and I was happy with how this was looking now, so I turned off the heat and I added in a handful of grated cheddar, and I just stirred that in, and my sauce was ready. So this is what the sauce was looking like. This is the consistency I wanted, but if you want it more runny, then just add more milk. Now I'm just going to add the potatoes to that sauce, and I'm just going to give them a quick mix around to make sure that they are well coated. You can go in with your hands if it is easier. And now I'm just going to grab myself a little baking tray. Get yourself a baking dish, whatever you've got. And I am going to layer some of the potatoes at the bottom. Once I've got one layer down, I am going to go in with a handful of grated cheddar because I'm obsessed with cheese and I'm going to add it everywhere I can. Then I'm going to layer on a second lot of potatoes, and I'm just going to scrape up any of the white sauce that's left at the bottom of my pan, add it onto the top and just spread it out nice and evenly. And now we are going on with lots and lots more grated cheddar. You can choose any cheese that you prefer, by the way. And I'm just going to season with a little bit more black pepper, and then I am going to cover with some foil. Again, you want to wrap this really nice and tightly, and then this is going to go into my air fryer oven. So by the way, at this point there was only 5 minutes left on the clock for the chicken, so I popped in the potatoes and I changed the setting. I just used the bread setting, which is the first preset function, and I cooked everything for 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And after 30 minutes I came back to check on the chicken because it was in there for quite some time now. I'm just going to remove the foil, and when I checked it, it was actually done all the way through, so it didn't need to be cooked any further. This is how it was looking, so I just set this aside. So next up, I checked on how my potatoes were doing. So I removed the foil, I did check them, and the potatoes were quite soft at this point, so they didn't need to be cooked with the foil on for any longer. This is how they were looking, so I popped them back into my air fryer oven and I cooked them for a further 7 minutes at 175 degrees. So while the potatoes are finishing up, I have some chives here that I chopped up really finely. ready for when the potatoes come out of the air fryer oven. And this is what they look like, guys. Absolutely beautiful, golden brown. The cheese had all melted, and honestly they smell amazing. So I just topped with my chopped chives, and I did let this rest for around 5 minutes. But look at how good they looked. Honestly, they smell so good. So now let's plate up and show you what they really look like on the inside as well. So I am just plating up my portion, and like I said at the start of this video, I didn't stop there. I went back and I had so much of these potatoes. Just look at them. They were so creamy and cheesy and delicious. The taste I can't explain. I feel like it tastes like something I've had before, but I've definitely not had scalloped potatoes before, but they were just so good. So I added some of that chicken, and then I fried off some green beans in a pan with some butter and fresh garlic, and this is what my plate was looking like. Honestly, it was so delicious, and I'm just going to show you how soft and creamy they were. Honestly, so good, and you definitely have to try these. And because I'm showing you the chicken, I may as well show you how well that cooked as well. So it cooked with the foil on the whole way through, and it was so soft, juicy and tender. It just fell apart as so. So now I'm going to plate up some for my husband as well. I gave him a little extra. So I gave him 2 lots of chicken legs and a lot of that potato, and honestly he loved it as well, and so did my kids, and so will you. So make sure you try out this recipe. Pair it with this chicken if you want, because it actually went together so well. It turned out to be a delicious meal. I'm definitely going to be making especially these potatoes again. I can't go on about these potatoes enough. They were just so good. You have to try them and you have to give me some feedback. And there you go, guys. You can't tell me that those potatoes didn't look delicious. They were so good, like I've said so many times before. So make sure you try this recipe, and you have to let me know how they turned out. And if there's any other variations of scalloped potatoes that you want me to try out, just let me know below, and I will see you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.